get this Lane Kiffin thing. Somebody's going to have to explain it to me. This whole thing is just weird to me. It wouldn't be the first time he's left a team high and dry. This is about the individuals involved and their greed. How do you possibly get held hostage in the middle of a season? This dude's never won a national championship. Has he ever been in the playoffs? You know, there are sayings in coaching, which is don't mess with Happy. By the way, this show is presented to you by our friends at Prize Picks. I hit another one, and I gave you another one. You don't mess with Happy. It seems like Lane Kiffin is always jag-assing around. Now, think about this just for a second. The man is coaching in the SEC, and he has, at Mississippi, a real opportunity to win a national championship this year. Is he the favorite? No. But he's going to be in a playoff. He's a really good coach. He's got a really good team. But yet, from the same conference, you have teams like LSU openly courting him. You have teams that, like Florida, would love to have him. And he's not shutting it down. Like, if I were a player in this day and age, I'd be like, yo, coach, what are we doing here, Bab? Now, I'm going to assume that Kiffin has told his team he's doing whatever it is he's doing in an honest fashion. That's always the best policy. I dealt with it back in 2002. You get in front. I said, look, I'm going to West Virginia. I'm not going to have time to come back. If I like it, I'm going to take the job. If I don't, I'm coming back. But I wanted to tell you guys first, just be honest with people. I assume that he is, but this whole thing is just weird to me. Schools in the same conference openly courting a guy and his family, and the guy who isn't like, I don't know, he's not like at the bottom of the conference. He's in the playoff, and he's not shutting it down. Look, I don't know what he's going to do next, but it wouldn't be the first time he's left a team high and dry. Those of you in Tennessee know. A meeting, this is from our guy Trey Wallace, a meeting between Ole Miss AD Keith Carter and Lane Kiffin took place Friday afternoon in Oxford, with the university hoping to gain some type clarity regarding the future of his head coach. Now all sides seem to be waiting. How do you possibly get held hostage in the middle of a season, a championship potential season, by a coach who is thinking about leaving for other jobs in the same conference? It's lunacy to me. I understand what Kiffin is doing. I do. I think he's got leverage for the first time, and he's using it. You know, this is a guy that got fired on a tarmac at USC. Table have turned. He's got leverage. All right, over the past few weeks, he's been entertaining offers from both LSU and Florida, while also having an extension on his desk from the Rebels, Mississippi. To say this has turned into a circus would be disparaging to the clowns who work under the Big Tent, Trey says. That's good. This has bled over into the football building in Oxford, where, well, Kiffin has tried to downplay this over the last 2 weeks, and now they'll go through the same cycle again for another 24 hours as Kiffin informed Carter, I didn't have a decision. You know, sometimes, and I go back to this is a long time ago, you don't really care, but, you know, right before the NCAA tournament in 1989, Michigan's coach Bill Frieder said, I'm going to go to Arizona State, but I'm coaching Michigan. Bo Schembechler, the athletic director, said, I'm going to have a Michigan man coach Michigan, not some guy that's the Arizona State coach. And Steve Fisher, you're the head coach of Michigan. They won a national championship. I don't know if you could do that in football. It's very, very weird. But I tell you what, this AD looks weak. This school looks weak. The coaching profession looks weak. And I don't get, I'd be pissed off personally at Florida and LSU. I'd be pissed off at at Sankey, Greg Sankey, the freaking commissioner of that league. I'd be pissed off at everybody were I this guy Carter. And Carter, you know what? He's a wimp. He's a pussy. Coach Kiffin and I have had many pointed and positive conversations. Why does everything got to be positive? What's positive about your coach in the middle of a championship run looking at other jobs? There's nothing positive about that. You're just being a pussy. Regarding his future at Ole Miss, including meeting today with Chancellor Boyce, while we discussed next steps, We know we cannot lose sight of what's most important. Sixth-ranked team poised to finish the regular season in historic fashion. Despite the outside noise, Kiffin is focused on preparing our team for the Egg Bowl. What a pussy! And together we want to ensure that our players and coaches concentrate fully on next Friday's game. This team is on the cusp of an unprecedented season. It's imperative we support. We get the support of the Ole Miss family in the weeks ahead. An announcement on Coach Kiffin's future is expected the Saturday following the game. Shut up! See, sometimes you just got to walk like a man and have a set of balls, Keith Carter. Seriously. Sometimes you just got to do that. You just got to say, you know what? We're here. We resurrected your career. We've helped you. Shit or get off the pot. But they won't do that. Let's review. All right. All this comes, Jimmy Sexton, the agent, has discussed the opening with LSU officials multiple times. Ole Miss continues to wait. Wait. Ole Miss, the team that's currently paying him. This is nonsense. The best way to describe this ordeal, open marriage. That's exactly right. It's an open marriage. Hey, man, I'm stooping you. We're married. We got a contract, but I'm going to go bang the neighbor. You want to come watch? Well, I'm fooling around with her, and next thing you know, you want to talk about it. Nah, I'm going to go fool around some more. I'll let you know in a week or two. Week. Russ Dellinger reported LSU is close to finalizing a $90 million offer for Kiffin. This dude's never won a national championship. Has he ever been in the playoffs? I don't think so. Here we go, Yahoo Sports. As Lane Kiffin and Ole Miss meet Friday, confidence brewed in Baton Rouge. LSU is finalizing a near $90 million offer to the coach, blessed by the governor, and $25 million plus an annual roster cash is the most serious push. So they're going to go $25 million above the norm. Just go get him, man. Man, oh, man, oh, man. How many – well, I don't know about this, so I'm not going to say it. But here's Saban sounding off on the situation.
Well, everybody should be thinking about the players. Everybody should be thinking about the student athletes. What's best for the student athletes? Players should be able to play for his coach for the entire season. Players shouldn't be penalized if a coach leaves because the committee has the opportunity, if a player or coach doesn't participate, they can sink you in the rankings. Mm-hmm. So Ole Miss could go down in the rankings, maybe lose a home game. So their players are getting penalized. But we need to take a better approach to the business aspect of what we do in college athletics. In the NFL, you cannot leave your team until you're finished playing. You can't talk to another coach in the regular season. There's a defined time when you can talk to them if they're in the playoffs. That's the way it should be. And we should match the academic calendar with the football calendar, and we shouldn't have an early signing date that conflicts with people wanting to hire an early coach, a portal situation where you got to hire an early coach, fire your coach early. None of this is fair to the players. So if we did all that in May and then had some kind of OTA days or something in the summertime instead of spring practice, we wouldn't have all these issues and players could actually finish the year. So this is not a Lane Kiffin conundrum. This is a college football conundrum that we need some leadership to step up and change the rules on how this gets done in terms of coaching searches and opportunities for people to leave. Players can leave. So if you went to the Ole Miss players, they would say, I want my coach to coach till the season's over. Yeah. We got a chance to go to the playoffs. When's the next time we're going to have a chance to go to the playoffs? So that's the way it should be, regardless of what Lane decides to do.
Yeah, is that right, though? Yeah, I mean, I don't know about the whole OTA thing, but at some point you got to put the blame on the coach. At some point you just got to simply say, these dudes are greedy as hell. His agent did not need to be out there telling people what the agent was doing. I go back, Steve Alford left Iowa. I was right in the middle of it. Nobody knew. He went to New Mexico, right in the middle of it. The agent doesn't need to be out there yelling and screaming and doing all this agent stuff. This could all have been handled quietly, but the agent wanted big leverage. And the agent got big leverage, and everybody loves the agent. Here's the bottom line. Coaches, particularly former coaches now, can bitch, whine, and moan. about the players. Saban recruited players to Toledo. He left and went to Michigan State. Saban went to Michigan State. He left, recruited players to Michigan State. He left and went to LSU. Saban recruited people to LSU. He left and went to the Dolphins. Saban went to Alabama. He left and went to TV, recruited players. So I don't really want to hear. Look, this is about people and greed. That's all this is about. You can blame systems. You can blame whatever you want. But the bottom line is simply this. This is about the individuals involved and their greed. Lane Kiffin, I would assume, or he's at least made enough money that he should never have a financial problem. If this was really about the players, there would be nothing in the news about this. Lane Kiffin would have told everybody interested in him, get the living hell away from me. I am not dealing with this until after the season. I am coaching my team. If you still want me, then fine. If you don't want me, then fine. But this isn't about, everybody's got, we got to do, Gordon Gee, the former Ohio State and West Virginia president. We got to do blah, 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 blah. Nobody gives a rat's ass about anybody. Players don't give a rat's ass about the coach. Coach don't give a rat's ass about the players. This is simply greed, period. This is posturing and greed. And anything else in any way, shape, or form is utter nonsense. Lane Kiffin, I've been in this situation. I ain't talking to you until our season's over, period. You don't want me? Then I stay. But that ain't this. That fat-ass Jimmy Sexton's running all of this stuff, and Kiffin doesn't have the nuts to tell him, hey, shut up, leave me alone, I got a great job. If Florida or LSU want me, we'll talk about it after we make a run or after we get our ass beat in the Egg Bowl. No, it's amazing. In other coaching news, Florida State has opted to retain Mike Norvell for next season. They made it official yesterday. This is from Austin Perry on Outkick. Seminoles have all but guaranteed themselves another year in the college football purgatory. Excuse me. As Norvell appears to have regressed back to his mean after a couple wild swings last 2 years, 2022 offseason offered some hope that better days were on. 10-3 record, finished just outside the top 10. 2023 is when things got going. 13-1 ACC championship, and then they came back to 2-10 last year and a 2-6 record in the ACC. There you go. They don't want to pay a buyout. They think maybe they just don't want to deal with it. Yeah, you know what? Here's the deal. You know how this goes. Wait for it. If they got rid of Norvell at the end of the year, the buyout, $58.7 million. This episode is brought to you by Prize Picks, where I hit it again. You go, Shedeur Sanders. That's right. Shedeur Sanders throwing a touchdown. Jameis Winston throwing a touchdown. We made some money. Don't miss any of the excitement this year or this season on Prize Picks, where it's good to be right. Prize Picks is also the best way to get action on sports in more than 40-plus states, including Georgia, where my buddy Todd Blinko is loving it, Texas, and Cali. Prize Picks also offers injury reboots. If one of your players leaves the game in the first half, doesn't return, Prize Picks will not count it as a loss. Prize Picks is the best way to win cash while watching sports. Join millions of users and sign up today. Download the Prize Picks app today. Use code DAKICH. Get $50 in lineups when you play your first $5 lineup. It's code DAKICH. Get $50 in lineups when you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. It's good to be right. Hey, even though the best team in college football didn't play, the Indiana Hoosiers, it was a fantastic weekend of college football. But one of the biggest games took place between Oregon and USC. USC with a chance, get the win. You're going to be in the playoff, I think. Well, they did. And USC head coach Lincoln Riley snapped. I guess this was a student reporter. This was a kid who claims that, hey, he just went there, got a press pass, and covered the game. All right. A student reporter, or this kid, asked him, said, game day sign saying extend Lincoln. What do you think about opposing fan bases wanting you extended because they don't view you as a threat to them? Now, I get it, little kids with big mouths. Now, this kid has subsequent to all of this, I got to get on social media. People are mean. Suck it. Anyway, people are again questioning if Lane Kiffin is the answer in Trojan land. Or is he the product of the riches left over by Bobby Stoops? I don't know either one, but here's Lincoln Riley. He ain't happy with this question.
Lincoln fan that said extend Lincoln Riley's contract. What are your thoughts on the fact that the losing fan base they're happy about the fact that they go to USC in the sense they don't view you as a threat to them?
That might be the dumbest question I've been asked as long as I've been a head coach, and I've been asked a lot of questions. You ought to feel a little embarrassed to ask that question. This is a professional thing. You ought to try it.
I think in the run game was slowed down pretty effectively.
The question is pretty funny, although it's said by a little dipshit. If you could hear the question, the media member said, game day sign saying extend Lincoln. What do you think about opposing fan bases wanting you extended? Because they do not view you as a threat. Here we go. This is where, through 51 games as a USC head coach, Lincoln Riley, 34-17. Yay, 51 games as a USC head coach. Clay Helton, 34-17. Same damn record. Hey, you cannot expect Lincoln Riley to compete for a national championship at a place like USC in 2025. Tough to get top recruits to play in LA. It's not like he has the benefit of coaching in Bloomington, Indiana. I'll tell you this, I'd rather coach in Bloomington, Indiana than in LA. I don't think it's even close. I mean, Bloomington, Indiana is a great, idyllic college town. LA's a cesspool of crap with high taxes, big homeless, lots of shootings, gangland violence, ridiculous mayor, and an idiotic governor. I don't know. Bloomington, Indiana is pretty nice. Costs are down. It's fun. Great Lake. I don't know. Whatever, man. To make matters worse, Oklahoma, led by Brett Venables, looks like a legit playoff contender. Meanwhile, Dan Lanning, the coach at Oregon, well, he used to be in the SEC. Remember when I go through this, he used his post-game availability to take a shot at the SEC and their joke of scheduling, calling out the conference for scheduling games against Chattanooga State. Nooga State's got a squad? I don't think so during the middle of the season. Here's Lanning. He ripping up on the tradition of this time of year, some SEC teams playing Chattanooga State, a school that doesn't exist.
And I know you're focused on week-to-week, game-to-game, but as the playoff gets closer and as the chatter around the field ramps up, how would you hope that the committee or the rest of the country sees and views this Oregon team?
Well, we just played a really good team. We beat them. And a lot of times we play really good teams, they become unranked all of a sudden. That's not our fault, right? Maybe it is our fault. But all we're worried about is playing the teams that we play and doing the job that we need to do. And we did that job today, right? I think proof's in the pudding, right? Played a good team. We beat them, right? All we can do next week is try to do the same thing, right? And this conference is a really good conference. It's competitive, right? We didn't play Chattanooga State today, right? Like some other places, right? We competed. So, that being said, it's tough playing 9 conference games. It's tough playing in this league, and we got to take advantage of playing a good team today and attacking that.
Nooga State. What? Nooga State. Wow. Hey, good for him, man. I remember when Urban was at Florida, I said, hey, man, I want to bring my son and my nephew to the game. He goes, yeah, come on. What game? I go, Citadel. He goes, what are you talking about? I go, I know you're going to win. I don't want to be around a coach if he loses. So anyway, they beat the Citadel. We had a good week. I don't know. I didn't know the SEC did that. I honestly didn't. Hey, you enjoying the show? Of course you are. Of course you are. Make sure you head on over to youtube.com/@don'tatme with Dan Dakich to like, comment, and subscribe. That way you'll never miss any of our great content. Oh, baby, we got Fat Coach talking. Fat Coach talking, tough guy, Kansas City Chiefs special teams coordinator Dave Todd mocked President Trump when asked about the president's stance on disliking the new kickoff rules, and America's conscious Bobby Barack. Well, he quickly and accurately highlighted how awful the special teams have been for the Chiefs this year. Here's Taub on Trump.
The president criticized the new kickoff rules when he was at the Washington game. What's your reaction?
He doesn't even know what he's looking at. You know, he has no idea what's going on with the kickoff rule. So I'm going to take that for what it's worth. And I hope he hears it.
Harold, go ahead.
Yeah.
Well, how do you know he has no idea what's going on? Is this like some great science? You know, is this like the molecular biology? Is this some kind of math that we are all not privy to? See Goodwill Hunting? I mean, fat guy with a goatee. If you can figure it out, I'm pretty damn sure the president of the United States, who's put more deals together, done more things in one day than your fat old ass, he's younger than me, did. Tobin's unit, maybe he doesn't know what's going on, has had a hand in nearly every Chiefs loss this year. This past Sunday, Chiefs all but lost to West in a 3-point loss to Denver. In that game, the special teams missed an extra point, gave up a 70-yard punt return, lost a field position battle, commit multiple penalties on returns. How about that? The same could be said about the upset loss to the Jags. Week 5, special teams contributed 109 penalties. In another 3-point defeat, put bluntly, Dave Taub is not a good enough coordinator, and his unit is having too disastrous of a season to create a distraction by voicing his opinions on Donald Trump. Then again, maybe he hopes to blame his eventual firing on the team owner's support of Trump, deflecting attention from his poor coaching. Look, it's you got to understand. Oh, man, I'm the special teams coach. Oh, yeah, good, man. Yeah, that's awesome. You know, hey, let's be honest. If you're the special team coach, well, damn. I mean, how do we get around it? Dave Taub, you're the special team coach? Well, hell, I got to tell you, I'm very excited to know you. I mean, Trump doesn't know what he's looking at, so you gain a bunch, Dave Taub does, of people that go, interesting. Because if you look at it, I'm looking at it right now, he's my age. Dave Taub, well, he is considered one of the greatest minds. He's one of the greatest minds. And when you come out of Springfield College or Texas El Paso, you damn right you're considered one of the great minds. How could you not be? No. How could you not be considered one of the great minds of all time? So anyway, good for him. Yay, rah. Go fight, win. But Dave, thank you. You gave us content. And I do hope the president sees it. And I hope you get I hope you get taxed. I hope you get audited. Hey, Trump, get him out there. Get those IRS agents in Dave Taub's back. Hey, what's this receipt for? Hell yeah. Jay Feely's running for Congress. He joins us next. I'm always excited when I have Jay Feely on because we talk about a variety of things, including, you know what, his quest to get in Congress. He's a candidate in Arizona. You can follow him at Jay Feely, Feely. All right, but to the important things. It's Michigan-Ohio State week.
Let's go.
How much heat? I know they want to – I know. How much heat is on, Ryan Day? You played in this game. Coaches feel it big time. I don't care you won a national championship. They feel it in this bad boy, do they not?
The coaches feel it, the players feel it. Think about John Cooper, right? John Cooper was in my era, and I believe he went 1-8-1 against Michigan. I think he beat every other team in the country in every other game he played. And he got fired because he couldn't beat Michigan. You sit there and you go back to those years when I was there in 1995, 1996. They're undefeated. Ohio State is number 1 in the country. Coming into that game, lose to Michigan twice in a row, and it derails their national championship. And Ryan Day has done so much. He's been winning a national championship. But, the struggles against Michigan mean more than almost anything else. I mean, you win a national championship. Yes, okay, they can forgive you for losing to Michigan that year. But they have to beat Michigan. And, you sit there each year, last year, like, okay, this is the year they're going to beat them. But until you go do it, the rivalry is so special. The records don't matter. Nothing else about that game matters. Those teams, Michigan, Ohio State. You don't even want to go across the border. Like Woody Hayes talked about that, pushing his car across the border because he ran out of gas because he want to buy gas in Michigan. I mean, that's what's so special about this rivalry.
I was at Bowling Green, which is right there by Toledo, and it's kind of an interesting place because, there's like a Michigan, Ohio State store. Like, it sells both and nothing else. You can't buy, a lot of people, because how close Toledo is to Ann Arbor, it's, 40, 50 miles up the road. A lot of people are Michigan guy. What's that week like for a player?
What I remember is, every time we got to Ohio State week, as soon as you walked into the building, the old games were playing. The history of the game mattered. And so they wanted to make sure those players understood the history of this game, going all the way back to Bo Schembechler and Woody Hayes and why it mattered so much. A guy like me who came from Florida and came up to Michigan, I didn't really truly understand that rivalry until I got there and lived it. Like for me, I was like Florida State, Miami, Florida State. Like those were the big rivalries in the early 90s that I watched, late 80s, early 90s that mattered in Florida. But that, when you get up there and you live it and you're there and you see it and you feel it and you breathe it, and then now walking around everywhere I go for the rest of my life, every time I see somebody with an Ohio State gear on, I tell them go blue in the airport, and they kind of smirk and look at me. It's just great. Like that's all you got to say is 2 words and you get them going. That's what's great about this rivalry. And I remember being in Columbus, 1996. They were undefeated, #1 in the country. We're at the hotel. We're like an hour outside of the city, so there's nothing else there. And they got their senior tackle going on Friday, and every TV station has it on. And one of their former coaches is on there talking. I think it was Earl Bruce about that game, and he's like, "Michigan's nobody. They're nothing." And he's going on and on. And we get into our team meeting with Lloyd Carr, and he's like, "I don't have anything else to say, men. Let's go out there and win that game." Like we were ready to play that night, and we went out there and we beat them. Sean Springs slips, Ty Streets takes it to the house for a touchdown, and we end up beating the #1 team in the nation at Columbus. And it's just those moments that stand out in your mind because that rivalry is so special.
I tell people all the time, the Indiana-Purdue basketball rivalry, I got my 4th foul in the first half. First time I ever did that. Knight kept me in the game. People threw coins at me. I caught 75 cents. True story. I had 75 cents in my hand. I was kind of picking them up, being a smart ass, right? And I showed my teammate Steve Alford. I go, "Hey, man, look at that." Sitting on the bench. But it's just, hey.
Your Indiana
awesome.
boys are playing now in football.
Ooh, what do you think? We got a shot here against the Buckeyes or against whoever we see? What do you think?
I'm telling you, with that quarterback, you always got a shot. They're a fun team to watch. They are exciting, and it's awesome to see a team like that because it's so hard for those teams that aren't the blue bloods, the top teams in this system right now where guys can leave and you got to bring in, transfers. It's so hard for a team like that to keep their guys together and to win like that. I think it's really special. I love that. I love the fact that we have that in college football right now.
Jay, I tell people I was there 17 years. I went to every football game, every one that I was in town for. Maybe I was recruiting.
Right,
I stayed for one. I stayed for one second half. 1987, first time first time Indiana beat Michigan. Bo Schembechler, I stayed. My mom, my brother, we all were like, we're staying finally. And now it's insanity. It's so much fun. Hey, I want to get to something here. Dave Taub, the special teams coach, he says, hey, Donald Trump doesn't know what he's looking at with the new kickoff rule. Okay, that's great. But the new kickoff rule, I ain't mad at it. Where are we at with that, and where are you at with Taub's comments about Trump?
Well, he's a great special teams coach. I don't think he's a great political commentator. But when I look at that rule, it's still weird to see it. It still takes away from the pageantry of football, but it accomplished what it wanted to accomplish, which was to reduce concussions. And that's why they did it. They're still tweaking with it this year. I think they did the changes that the special team coaches asked them to do the first year that they didn't do, so that you would get more returns. You're certainly seeing that now. You're seeing touchdowns on kickoff returns, and I think people are getting used to it. It's just the look of it, the weirdness of it. But if at the end of the day, as a guy I turned 50 this year, And I look at some of my teammates that have died. I just went to one of my teammates' funerals, and it didn't have anything to do with CTE or concussions or his mind. But you see that so often in guys. Like, if we can do anything to reduce those concussions and the long-term implications of those concussions, then I think that that's the right decision. I think that's why they did it, and certainly had an impact, and it's reduced those concussions.
What'd you think of Tom's comment going at the president? Like, I said this, look, president figures out how to solve wars. He can figure out a kickoff.
Well, the Chiefs got enough to worry about on their own right now.
I hated that they beat my Colts. Are we going to see a 70-yard field goal soon?
Yeah, you will. It's amazing. People ask me, it's the single question that I've gotten the most about football this year. From fans walking around, is about kicking and why these kickers have gotten so much better and so much stronger. And it's a little bit of that Tiger Woods effect that you saw in the PGA in the early 2000s. You got guys that now are going to coaches at 10 years old and getting the right form and having that their entire lives. Whereas a guy like me, I got all the way through college into the NFL, and I didn't have the right form yet. I was trying to figure it out on my own. But now when you have that right form at 10 years old, and by the time you're 30, you've been doing the same thing for 20 years, and you have, the right process in place, and then you add that to the weight room work that these guys are doing now that, 20 years ago, guys weren't doing. Everybody wasn't doing that, and that's why you're seeing these guys who can kick the ball. And then certainly this year they changed the balls a little bit, and it certainly helps. I remember my first year in the NFL, these balls would come out of the box like a block. And they were so bad sometimes I'd turn around and tell the kickoff team, hey, this ball's terrible. It's going to the 10-yard line. You got to be on your horse and get down there quick, because you could feel the ball and you know how bad it was. Now they get to prepare those balls all week, and they're perfect. And so they're kind of juiced, and they're certainly going a lot farther. But for me, wouldn't a fan rather see a 63-yard field goal than a punt down to the 18-yard line? That's what you'd rather see if you're a fan. So it's a good thing for the game.
I tell people I was a little kid, and Monday Night Football is the only place you could get highlights, and I snuck down to see Tom Dempsey kick a 63-yarder, and I remember it like it was yesterday with the blocked foot or the club foot. I think people love to watch it. I do. I'm with you. Why wouldn't you? Hey, how's the election going? How's the candidacy going?
The run has been interesting. It's been fun to get out and to meet all the people and to talk to everybody. For me, the most important thing isn't even me getting elected. The most important thing is making sure in 2026 that the Republicans keep the House and the Senate, and that President Trump and his administration can finish the work that they've done in these first 2 years to try to transform the way that our country is working. I think when you see the result of what the Democrats have done when they lost the presidency, they lost the House and the Senate, it's to move further to the left. It's to say, okay, we're going to go with AOC and Bernie Sanders and Mondami. Those are going to be the leaders of the Democrat Party, and they're going to buy into this democratic socialist movement. And you're seeing that at a young age, and I think Republicans have to take measure of that and understand that we have to win the economic battle for this country. We have to prove to young people that there is hope. We're sitting here getting ready for Thanksgiving. We live in the greatest country in the world. And we have so much to be grateful for, so much to be thankful for. You can be nobody and come from nothing, and you can accomplish any of your goals in this country. That needs to be the message that resonates with people. We need to prove that and show that. I think President Trump and his administration, what they're trying to do in bringing investment back into this country, almost $20 trillion, bringing jobs. We lost 7.5 million manufacturing jobs, 90,000 manufacturing plants, trying to bring those back into this country and try to help provide opportunity for everyone. That's what your job is in Congress. And that's what I challenge everybody in Congress to do. Don't focus on these stupid little things, the things that the Democrats continue to focus on. When you think about the things, Dan, that they've focused on, they have focused on president's strikes coming out of Venezuela on those boats. Well, Obama had over 540 drone strikes. He killed almost 4,000 people, and the Democrats said nothing. They have gone crazy about President Trump and his deportation efforts. Obama deported over 3 million people when he was president, 80% without due process. The whole idea of, with due process. No, he deported almost 80% without due process. 60% of them did not have a major felony. So it's complete hypocrisy when you go through each one of their arguments, the things that they focus on. Because Obama did it, they had no issue with it. President Trump does it, and because it's President Trump, they go ballistic about it. Even the White House and how absurd that was. Obama did a redo, and he used over $300 million of the taxpayers' money to make a basketball court and to redo some of the infrastructure. Nobody said a word about it. President Trump wants to add a ballroom. He wants private donors to pay for it so the taxpayer doesn't, and they go ballistic. So many issues. You can look at Obama, you can say he did it. President Trump does a similar thing, and they go ballistic. But we need to focus on the things that really matter. And what will matter in 2026 will be the economy. That will determine the outcome of this election. And we need to keep the House and the Senate so that we can continue to implement what he's been doing and trying to help all Americans.
To the economy, I was reading this. I made a note here earlier. Thanksgiving dinner cost is way down. I mean, other costs are still up, but, I say this, you tell me I'm wrong, but as awful as Biden and all of his policies were, it isn't going to come down. Everything isn't going to change in 6, 8, 10 months. I mean, those are policies, the immigration policy, inflation, all the stupid stuff that administration did. You can't fix that in 10 minutes.
When you have you can't have open borders and a massive welfare state. They can't coexist. You can't allow people to come in and say that when you come here, we're going to put you on this massive welfare state and give you everything, because then people are going to flood in. That's what happened under President Biden. Tens of millions of people coming in here, inflating the cost of houses, inflating the cost of goods. Oh, and then, by the way, we're going to put them on SNAP. So they're going to take those EBT cards and go down to the grocery store and buy everything, inflating the price of groceries. And then we're going to have massive government spending and print money, which we know leads directly to massive inflation. That's why we had 9% inflation under Biden. Those policies are directly related to increase in cost for the average American. President Trump, in both his first administration and now this administration, has GDP growth over 3% and inflation under 3%. That's what you want. That's what they're trying to implement. That's what they're trying to get for this country. That's what benefits everyone.
Yeah, I just wonder. I always try to predict what's the next name calling that liberals are going to do. We had fascist and racist and king and, pedophile. I mean, what? Now that the Epstein files are going to be released, everybody in the Democratic side's quiet all of a sudden. It's kind of amazing. But, I try to predict what the next name calling.
That's another one. They had 4 years where President Biden was president. 2 of those years, they controlled the House and the Senate. And they did nothing about the Epstein files. They didn't care about it. They didn't talk about them. They didn't release them. It's complete hypocrisy. But what I hope they focus on right now, which they won't, but is what's going to help this country and what's going to help the people of America, and how we're going to make houses more affordable, and how we're going to help people to not have massive debt, and reduce the debt that we have coming out of college from so many people where that debt is unsustainable. Those are the things that are truly going to help people. It only happens on a bipartisan basis. That's the problem in Congress right now, is that we have people who only care about partisan issues. And they don't want to do things because they think it'll help the current administration, even if it'll help Americans. They don't care about that. We live in this great country. We have so much to be grateful for as you roll into Thanksgiving this week and then Christmas. If we can focus on the things that truly help Americans, that's what we should be doing.
No doubt about it. I appreciate you. Thank you. Thanks for coming on, Jay. Happy Thanksgiving to you.
Thank you for what you do. Happy Thanksgiving to you. Hope you have an awesome time with your family.
You too. There he goes, Jay Feely. If you're in Arizona, you got to vote for him. I mean, I said, I'm just waiting. I always wait to see what the next name calling is. I've also said this. I'm not insanely Republican or anything, but I'm simply this: find a great candidate that has great ideas and run that candidate, as opposed to name call, lie. It's just amazing to me. So I hope Jay Feely gets in there. I do, because common sense, we just need more and more and more of it. And it is amazing. And no, it's astounding, actually. Most people understand this, but Bill Clinton and those guys would have been like far-right Republicans the way they went about their business. We'll be right back. Oh, baby, it's Monday. We got stock up, stock down. Ooh. Man, oh, man. Klay Thompson, who has won many championships, been a vital contributor, a Hall of Famer, he just shredded that clown John Morant. Man, oh, man. They got a little altercation. Morant was sitting on the sidelines doing his street clothes act, being a mouth. And, they got a little face-to-face. I think Morant said, you're washed or whatever kids say now. But I tell you what, man. Klay Thompson wasn't having it. Here's what Klay Thompson had to say about Ja Morant. Stock up, Klay Thompson.
And then with Ja, he's a funny guy. He has a lot to say all the time, especially for a guy who rarely takes accountability. But you know what? That's for another day.
What did Ja have to say on this occasion?
Nothing of intelligent depth. It was really just his just running his mouth, and he's been running his mouth for a long time. And it's funny to run your mouth when you're on the bench. It's kind of the story of his career so far, just leaving us wanting more. We all want to see him out there and do his best, but he's just been letting a lot of other stuff get in the way of that. And we need that in the NBA. We need our best players to be out there. And when you're a star, it comes with a great responsibility. And I hate to see that go to waste.
There you go. I mean, that's a veteran. That's a guy who has done nothing but win, be classy. Man. And Ja Morant, it's unfortunate, too. I've talked about this many times on our show. Ja Morant, when Seth Greenberg went down there at Murray State, he said, man, this guy's got a great family. He's a great kid. And, well, frankly, he and the entire family, I don't know about the mom, but certainly the dad, they haven't been able to handle fame worth a damn. Anyway, all right. We're lowering the boom. Let's look at it. Security. Don't mess with security at football games. Here we go. Let's see it. Oh, baby. Oh, baby. Oh, baby. Oh, man. I mean, Dad, I got drunk. I went out. I showed my ass. I got hit. I took the hit. I did. He took the hit. Our guy Nick is a Colorado Buffs fan. I want to be very clear. That is not our guy Nick back on homecoming. That was not him. That was a different guy. Watch the neck there. Ooh. 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 Hey, stock up. The Detroit Pistons. They're 14-2 on the season. They've won 12 straight. And I got to tell you something. I said this last year. Duncan Robinson is having a career year. He's always in double figures. He's playing more than he ever has, pretty much cast aside by what's going on there in Miami. But Duncan Robinson, man, he's playing great. He's starting. I mean, there he is at 6'9". He barely, if ever, makes a bad play. Now, it's kind of fascinating. He honestly, the kid doesn't make a bad play. Cade Cunningham is terrific. He is absolutely terrific. He's one of the best players I've seen in the NBA in person. But Robinson is getting 13 points a night. He's shooting the living hell out of it. And I got to tell you, I think he's a big reason. It's a good story. I like when Detroit is good in basketball. When you played at when you were at Bowling Green, when I was at Bowling Green, you became fans of the Detroit teams, the Cleveland teams. You just did. It was right there. Take my son to the Palace. Take my son to, it used to be the Gund or Quicken Loans Arena. You just became fans of them. And when Isaiah was there, I was always a fan of him. I love the games against the Bulls, so I think basketball is better when the freaking Pistons are good. All right. Man, this is a disturbing story. This is stock down. Nair Daniels. He's another Georgia offensive lineman of really no note. He's kind of a backup. He faces more than a dozen. Listen to this. A dozen criminal charges, including 3 felonies, according to online jail records. Charged with 2 felony counts of second-degree cruelty to children, 1 felony count of fleeing and attempted to elude a police officer. He faces 10 misdemeanor charges related to traffic offenses, including reckless driving and driving at maximum speeds. I guess his windows were so tinted, they threw that charge in there too. It's the latest in a long line of Georgia football players acting like idiots. Hey, long as you win, baby. Just win. How about them dogs? Embarrassing. Man, the Eagles. Now, here's the problem. I got two friends that are big Cowboy fans, and after the game last night, when the Eagles blew a 21-point lead, you know how it goes. How about them boys? I want to throw up. They blew a 21-zip lead against the Cowboys, the Eagles did. Couldn't score a point in the second half. I was listening as I was driving home from the Illinois State game to Mike Quick and whoever the announcers were, and they were like depressed. I was listening to the broadcast on Sirius XM radio of the Eagles, and they were like, I caught it in the fourth quarter just before the Cowboys won the game, and it was like a damn funeral. And then I flipped over to the Cowboys station, and they were talking about, if you want to hear something ridiculous, talk radio in Philly. No, it's good stuff. And again, the heat comes back too. It does. It probably should, I suppose, to Jalen Hurts. They're 8-3, but he seems to catch it, man. Hey, Chip Kelly had a pretty good thing going. He was at Ohio State. You know, he was rocking, rolling, shaking, and baking, and he leaves and he goes to the Raiders, and, well, he got fired as the offensive coordinator 11 games in. There they are, Chip Kelly and Pete Carroll, Dumb and Dumber of the NFL. That team is terrible. They had a sideline blow-up. Max Crosby was involved. They got beat by Shedeur Sanders. I mean, damn. If you get beat by Shedeur Sanders in his first start as a rookie, I don't know, man. You kind of got a problem. So Pete Carroll is doing what veteran coaches have learned to do over the years, and that's find a scapegoat. In this case, it's that guy, Chip Kelly. Look, I don't know whether Chip Kelly's good, bad, happy, or sad. All I remember is his first game. I'll never forget this. First game in Philadelphia as the head coach. All the little girls that covered the NFL, when they saw like the first drive on Monday Night Football or Sunday night, whatever it was, yes, please. More of this. I'm like, wait a second here. Hold the phone. But yes, please. This is so awesome. Oh, shut up. So he gone. We don't know where he'll end up, but he'll end up somewhere. I mean, I believe he was Ryan Day's coach over there somewhere in New Hampshire. That's how he got the Ohio State job, or that's how it ended up. But, hey, what are you going to do? Here's something I talked about this morning on First Fox and Friends. Let's talk about the Cleveland Browns. The Cleveland Browns defeated the Raiders, as I said, 24-10. And Shedeur Sanders became the first rookie quarterback for the Browns to win his first start since the franchise came back in 99. Okay stat line, 11 for 20, 209 yards, one touchdown, a swing pass to Dylan Sampson for 66 of those 200 yards, sacked one time, one interception, quarterback rating of 8.7. That's not good. That's out of 100. Passer rating 87.3. But this is what I like about Sanders. I don't know why. Like, he's an immature little kid. You know, he was talking about one time about how he grew up in a 10,000 square foot house, but his dad took him to the hood to play football. That's where he's got that dog in him. Oh, okay. Well, here's Sanders saying post-game, I ain't failing. Not failing. No chance.
But there's no excuse. You got to go out there and perform. Like, there's no choice, there's no question. Nobody cares if this was 1 week of prep. Who cares? You know? So a lot of people want to see me fail, and it ain't going to happen. You know? It ain't going to happen.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. I mean, we'll see. The defense, unbelievable. 18 sacks already for Myles Garrett. Myles Garrett is having one of the greatest years ever. They sacked Geno Smith 10 times. Cleveland record's 11. I would have figured 10 sacks in a game was probably already the record, but what the hell I know. I got to show you this. Before we go to Woke-A-Dope, I got to show you this. Our guy, Sean, get in here. Sean, you decided that you were going to have a free throw contest at the University of Idaho's women's game. There you go. I think we're going to roll the film. And we're going to show my guy, Sean, losing a free throw contest at the University of Idaho at a women's game.
Yeah, that's rough.
Get it over the front of the rim, Sean. Sean.
Here we go. That was nice. That was right through.
Walk me through the contest. What was it?
So we got brought up. I do a lot of work. I do a lot of work outside. We cover an FCS football, and we got invited to go to the University of Idaho this weekend. And we got invited to go to this women's game, sit up close, have a fun time, cheer on Idaho against, I think, UC Riverside. And then some of the admin were like, hey, do you want to compete in this free throw contest after halftime? We say, sure. I'm pretty confident. I think I can get it done. And then this idiot that I went with, Joe DeLeon, never played a minute of basketball in his life. Hits 5 free throws in 30 seconds. I hit 3, end up losing the contest. I'm livid. It's really a personal low for me because I've shot free throws before, Dan. I've been told to stay after practice, shoot your 100 free throws, then you get to go home. It was rough, tough scene, and I don't think I put on very well for the show.
No. Yeah, and represent. I mean, we are a show of winners. We are a show that caters to winners. You have to be at a certain level to even get on the show. You achieved at least that level, and now, frankly, you went downhill. Ironically enough, he's not the dope in Woke-A-Dope. Woke-A-Dope me, baby. Oh, man. Survived college without becoming a liberal. How about that? The old message on the graduation cap. Congratulations, depending on what school you went to. If you went to Indiana, hard. If you went to Harvard, even harder. You went to Hillsdale College, though, there ain't no way they're even going to let a liberal on that damn campus. But I like it. I dig it. I ain't mad about it. Good for you, lady. Next. Some people who are resentful of boomers for being wealthy are simply unwilling to make the sacrifices boomers made. Let me explain that to you. I guess I'm a boomer. That's fine. Call me anything you want. But my job out of college, I made zero money. Zero. I was what was called, I went to grad school, was a graduate assistant, made zero money, paid bills, whatever. And then, ladies and gentlemen, I started as a volunteer assistant on the court, doing everything that assistants do for zero money. None. Knight said, yeah, I'm going to pay you out of camp. So, okay, paid me out of camp. I got $5,000 out of that. But I used to have to, he said, hey, man, make sure you remind me every couple months to, cut you a check. So he would give me a couple grand every couple months. Zero. Nothing. My first job in radio, $14,000. Now we've got a monolith. That's right. You don't want to make those kind of sacrifices. You don't want to work, then the hell with you. You know what? I went to see my financial advisor the other day. He's like, do you want to do this where, you pay all the taxes for your kids, or do you want to leave it to them and let them pay taxes? Screw them. Let them pay taxes. Love you a long time, but I ain't paying the taxes. I work for my stuff. Next. And just like that, the Democrats stopped talking about Epstein. Wow. I'm stunned by that. If you want to know how to get the Democrats to stop talking about Epstein, open up the files. I haven't heard anybody talking about it. I haven't heard the Brooklyn Obama talking about it. I haven't heard Obama talking about it. I haven't heard Hillary or Bill or, I don't know, any of the righteous on the left talking about Epstein all of a sudden. We all know the deal. 12 out of 16 years, they dominated. They could have released those files. They didn't. Why? Because it is easier for liberals to sit and talk and call names than it is to deal with the actual truth. Let me say that again. It is easier for liberals to call people names, Nazi, fascist, racist, xenophobe, whatever, predator. That's what they do. And then that one goes away. They find the next one. The latest was pedophile. All right. Well, that seems to have gone away. Now what's next? King. Remember King was all the rage? They're going to find something else. They don't have policy. They don't have any attractive candidates. And frankly, they got nothing but name calling. It's kind of sad, really. I may do a video on this this afternoon just for the hell of it, put it out. But it's amazing to me. The gaslighting, all they got. Fascinating. Hey, Last thing. This is the greatest week of the year. Let me explain this to you. When you're coaching, as I did or playing, which I did from the time I was, let's say, in college, 18 to 45, you never, ever, ever had Thanksgiving. When you play basketball, you don't have Thanksgiving. We used to have to go to Coach Knight's house when I was a player. Players would go to my house or I would set them up to eat. You usually had a practice before, then you all went to Thanksgiving. It's a pain in the ass. My first Thanksgiving, not coaching, in broadcasting, I could not believe it. I was sitting at my brother's house. My whole family was there. We were eating, we were drinking, we were betting offshore, wherever the hell this one dude had. And next thing you know is the greatest. Like, this is Thanksgiving? Where was I? Well, guess what? Starting today at 11 o'clock, there's basketball games. And I'm going to give you a winner. I am. I'm going to give you a winner here today. That winner, ladies and gentlemen, is an underdog. It's Toledo against Troy. Troy had a big weekend last week, but hey, I'm taking Toledo on the money line. But here's the bigger issue. There are games at 11 o'clock, and you don't get this again until March. You don't get this again with college basketball until conference tournament play starts in March. So enjoy it. You know, these first few days, be college basketball all day and some great games. I'll go through them in the college basketball minute. But the truth of the matter is, then we get to what? NFL and college football. We mentioned the Egg Bowl. Indiana, Purdue. I mean, this is the greatest week. It's getting cold up here in the Midwest, and it's dark early, so there's no excuse to do anything, and I mean anything, other than to eat, drink, watch sports, and maybe, just maybe, exercise a little. Just a little. Oh, it's awesome. By the way, for my guy Sean, my dad and my uncle were stars at Idaho State University, Pocatello, Idaho. Screw the Vandals. See you tomorrow.